by Riverside.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Leadership Bytes podcast, where we serve up bold ideas, actionable insights, and real talk with women who are leading the way in strategy, innovation, and impact. I'm your host, Cam Sanders, and our guest today is a powerhouse in science education, Dr. Alicia Conerly. She is the outgoing president of the National Science Teaching Association, NSTA, and she's also currently the federal programs director and has held multiple leadership roles in Mississippi's Marion County School District. She holds a bachelor's degree in biotechnology, master's in teaching, a doctoral degree in educational leadership, and also a STEM certification. And Dr. Conerly is also a certified career level administrator with teaching licenses in elementary education, biology, and general science. I am so pleased to have Dr. Conerly with us today to explore leadership through the lens of purpose, power, and presence. Welcome, Dr. Conerly.
Thank you, Miss Cam. Thank you for having me and all of you all that will be tuning into the podcast. I'm excited about being here.
Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to start with what inspired your love for science and how did that evolve into a passion for educational leadership?
Well, in middle school, I knew I was going to be a model. High school, I knew I was going to be a pharmacist. Then life started lifing, as the young people say, and all of that went out the window. So I was taking up some junior college classes. And there was this African American female older teacher who was teaching one of the science classes that I had to have. This was in between my I don't know what I'm gonna do in life. And she just really intrigued me because I never saw an African American science female teacher as in tune, as attentive, and as passionate about science, teaching science. So from there, I'm like, this science thing may be all right. So I had so many credits to where I was able to go into cytotechnology. And cytotechnology, it was amazing. They only had 20 slots available for this particular program, and they only accepted 10. It is the study of cells, and it's once the cells are retrieved, mainly we will be looking at cancer cells, pap smears, things of that nature to determine the preliminary results. And then from there, the pathologist, sort of like the nurse, then the doctor. The doctor just confirmed what the nurse has already found. So the pathologist would say, yes, this is accurate, or no, this is actually what it is. And then results will be given to doctors to then give to the individual who has sought the doctor. After that, you have to take what's called the boards for that particular exam for cytotechnology. And I tell people I have no shame in saying I did not pass them. And I was like, I don't want to do this. I'm not going back. It was so expensive and all of that. And so as I was getting my mind together, married and all of that, my husband, we moved back home. Only what we thought was only going to be for a little while. And I got a call to be a substitute teacher. I was the Sunday school teacher at church. And the lady from church who was also on the school board said, you ought to be a substitute. We need people. So I talked to my husband. He's like, yeah, why not? 2 weeks into substitute teaching, I was offered a permanent job because the teacher was retiring at Christmas.
Wow.
I said, well,
Wow.
they
Yeah.
said, we think you will be great. Mind you, everyone else is saying you'll be great. While in my mind, I don't even like this. I don't even want to do this. So now, 17.25 years later, I have been a teacher, educator in all facets from substitute teaching now to district level. My love started with an African American lady at one of my junior colleges when I was trying to figure out my life, going into a field that I didn't even know about and being accepted to where only a select few were accepted to the program, to substitute teaching, never saw it on the radar, to now I'm 10 years out of retirement.
Love that. I love that story. It leads me to a question about your service. I know, and our listeners or viewers will know this about you as we continue to talk, but you are a true servant leader. You lead with that, and you served in so many different roles. You've been the teacher, the instructional coach, the administrator, the
Mhm.
volunteer leader, and the organization. And I'm curious about your why. Why do you feel that servant leadership is so important? And how did that become really your guiding principle?
Honestly, it comes from my background. My
Mhm,
grandmother raised me, and she's always served others by raising the grandchildren, being there for her children. Even now at her age, she still does what she can, even with the limitations that she has. It's always about serving, serving, serving. It was instilled in me from a young age. But
mhm,
even when something is instilled in you, you have the choice to continue on what has been instilled or take a different path. And luckily, this particular installation of values and morals was something good that I've continued. So my
yeah,
why has always been I don't want to become that person who isn't serving and instead wanting others to serve me. So it's like a pay it forward type of energy that I have.
yeah,
So that is my why and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
good.
People say right now in our society, we have become a society where people are very inwardly focused,
Correct.
and there's not enough of that spirit of service,
Yeah.
willingness to be of service to others. So I think people like you who do lead with that are so important. And
Yeah.
particularly the work that you do, you're instilling in the next
Woo,
generation also,
try.
right? In the context of science and STEM,
Hmm.
what do you think purpose driven leadership looks like right now?
With science and STEM being under attack like it is, you have to internally know that something good is going to come out on the other side
Yeah.
because the gap in our workforce, those of us that are in the trenches and serving and have the foresight and the insight, it's about to get wider. So, us as servant leaders, we're having to be intentional about impressing upon hearts to stay in it because this younger generation right now, they can jump out and be like,
Hmm.
hey, I can Uber versus having to be in the predicament of am I going to have a job or can I even do research and things of that nature? So what it's looking like is those that are in it, we're having to dig deep to continue to remember our why. And for
Yeah.
some, we're having to shift why I went in as to why I stayed in as to why am I going to assist now? Because for some of us, we're going to have to stay in longer
Mhm.
for when that gap is released to not be as confined and as targeted as it is now to say, we have a lot of ground to make up, and I am sticking with you to ensure that you are successful. So the purpose it has shifted even in the last year. And so we are having to be very intentional about sparking those conversations that we have been just lackadaisical concerning.
I love that you said that because it made me think about, again, we keep coming back around to servant leadership somehow, and I'm very curious about next generation workforce development in terms of filling the pipeline with future leaders in science. What's the answer there? Do you have any answer there for what businesses and organizations should be doing to get people interested in the fields?
Think, and this is from me being in the last 5 to 6 years, especially moving to the building level to district levels. I have seen that even within my own personal drive, I have not put a true focus on how important trades are as it relates to STEM workforce. And you would think, but no, I have not, and I'm not ashamed to say that. And as well as our 2-year colleges and our trade schools, because people don't understand that there are high regarded STEM workforce professionals that come out of your trades, that come
Mhm,
out of your workforce. For instance, our son, I just knew he was going to be my STEM engineer. Knew it. Knew it.
mhm,
This baby could take apart a remote at 2 and put it back together with no problem. So,
mhm,
I'm willing, oh, yes, he's going to be like his mother.
mhm.
He got introduced during his vocational years, his junior and senior year, to welding. I'm like,
Mhm.
What are you doing? This is not the path that I have for you. Introduced to welding, loves it. He graduated with 2 certifications already, national certifications. He
Yeah.
just finished up his 2-year college. He is certified in every type of welding capacity on land and can go anywhere.
Mhm.
However, I had to tap in. Do you understand that it takes math? Your son still had to understand the angle.
Yes.
Your
Yes.
son still had to be trained in the technologies behind what his bosses put in a computer system. It spits out the draft, and then he
Yes.
goes and welds it together.
Yes.
So you
Very
did
good
not let
training.
your mama down. Knowing and understanding that as a professional who was only thinking on the 4-year,
Yeah.
big name STEM career fields, I had to be shown within my own home the importance of these idle workforces. People in welding, they stay 30 and 40 years. They don't have
Mhm.
people coming behind them replacing them
Yeah. Yeah.
because the value of these jobs have not been placed in high regard on
Mhm.
teachers, universities. They're not the ones being called to career days at high schools. In that, seeing that in my own home, I had to switch my thinking.
Mm.
I had to tap in and say, hey, STEM is actually everywhere. I would say it, but I started believing it because I see it now. So
Yeah.
then my purpose changed, being a servant in other capacities changed, and my why changed. So now you want to go to the 2-year? Oh yeah, you can still be a STEM workforce worker. And this is
Mhm.
how welding, you can do drafting, things of that nature. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mama's attitude and mine had to change.
Love that. And I keep saying, I feel like a broken record. I keep
It's
saying that.
okay.
I love that. But I actually do, because a friend and I were talking about this the other day about the junior colleges being a very, very effective pathway for people
Correct.
right now. And it's also a very strategic way for
Yes.
people to come out with less educational debt.
Come on.
Yes,
Yes.
you see what
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yes.
it's such a viable pathway for people to cut their debt potentially in half, if not more.
My son he doesn't even know what a student loan is.
See? Powerful,
None.
powerful.
No student loan debt.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah. Oh,
Yep.
what a beautiful thing. What a
Right.
what a beautiful thing. And again, you've been in these different positions where you have had the opportunity to amplify leadership and to show people a path
Correct.
and help them move forward. I'd love to talk about power. How
Mm.
you use that power and that influence, and how you have used your platform to empower voices that are often unheard.
Oftentimes when people ask me that, I have to go back to power versus authority
Yeah.
because I've had both, I've
Mhm.
seen both, and I've seen how they operate. And I even wrote it out. I said power is the ability to influence or control others. Authority is the legitimate, legal, and formal right to do so. In
Mm.
several of my capacities, I've had the authority, but I didn't have the power.
Okay.
When I became a principal, I had the authority, but I soon realized I didn't have the power. And I had to find on my campus, on my hallways, somebody who had the power to get done what I needed to get done. I
Yeah.
had to find a trusted advocate that were my eyes, my ears, and my legs, that the staff trusted. They trusted their voice and I trusted them. And when I found that, that's when I ultimately had the power and the authority. But if your staff or if your team does not respect your authority, you don't have the power that you think you
Mhm.
have. So I had to be mindful of that. I've always tried. I haven't always gotten it right. Let me say that. But I've always tried to be the person that had the power of good influence.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you teach others to lean in and to own their voice and that power?
Watch your mouth. That's the first thing. You can watch your mouth. Watch your
Ooh, talk to us.
mouth.
Talk to us about that.
Because if you don't, You can destroy or you can build. And it's hard to rebuild once you have destroyed. And allowing them to see me operate in situations to where I've had to do that myself has been what has drawn them the most. And I've had people to come back and say, now, no way I would have been able to not say something. How? And they asked me, how did you do that? I said, I do not operate in my own strength because it drains you, it depletes you, it frustrates you. Mentally, I've been burned by trying to teach people how to use their voice because they've had power. And I've seen the capacity that they could hold and where they could go. And then in that, I also had to not allow that to continue to fester to where when somebody else comes along, I don't help them to have their voice. And so it's been hard, but I had to regain my own focus, not being as assertive and not being there for people as much. And even in that, I found that they had to find their voice because I was no longer, I don't want to say a crutch, but a leaning post. Because there's a difference between a crutch and a leaning post. A crutch will be there no matter what they do, how they do, say whatever. But a leaning post, and I'm bracing you, but only to say, you got this.
I
That's
love
what a
it.
leaning post. Go little. It's time. And when they lean back,
Yeah.
I got you. And
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. So be a leaning post.
leaning post, not a crutch.
Wow. And so, you talked about trying to help others sometimes being burned in that situation.
Yeah.
And I imagine everybody who is listening or watching right now may have found themselves in that position. What keeps you grounded and centered and still willing to show up in all the things that you do in the midst of that?
My faith. I'm constantly losing faith in people, but I'm not losing my faith in God.
Yeah, that's powerful. I think about you and what I've known of you and seen from you. And it has been integrity through and through. And I really appreciate that. And the level of integrity that you hold has been inspirational to me. And it makes me think about legacy. And I'm curious about what you hope history will say about you, not just in your capacity as a leader, but as a woman, as an educator, as a change maker.
If she did it, so can I.
That's good.
Because one of the things that kept me grounded, especially when I started teaching high school, I would put up a PowerPoint. It would be get to know you. But before I would get to know the students, I allowed them to get to know me. I was not ashamed of my story. I would tell people I came from a broken home. My mother raised me, 4-month-old baby, limited education, bus driver, but she instilled in all of her children and grandchildren education. I can only help you up to a certain grade level, but what you better do is get an education. Parents, substance abuse, all of that. First child out of wedlock, all of that. Didn't want to be in the profession. Failed first year of college, but graduated 15 out of 376 students. Where do you do that at?
Love it. I love it.
So when they see their teacher standing in front of them, unmasked, saying, before I can teach you, so that's that cliche, before you teach one, you gotta reach one. But do you mean it? How are you reaching them? What do they know about you?
Okay.
So that leads them to then, if Dr. Conley can do it. And then I hit them with, when I was a junior, I went overseas with a singing competition. I've been to Germany. I've been to Belgium. I've lived in Oklahoma. I was born in California. I was this. Oh, I can get out of Mississippi. You can get out. Not only can you get out of Mississippi, you can get out of this country if you want to and go visit, explore. Because if not, you will entrust that same mentality on your children. No, where you need to be is in Pike County. Where you need to be is in Walthall County. I'm talking about the counties in which I live. That's where you need. No, that's too big for you. Why is it? Who told you it was too big for you?
Yeah.
Or because then you will say, I can do this. I can thrive. So that's why I say, if she can do it, she can do it. Out of our 80 years of the inception of NSTA, there have only been 4 African American presidents. I am the youngest ever elected. I am the only Mississippian. I'm the only 2-time NSTA award recipient. And then on my job, they didn't tell me that I was the first African American administrator at Monticello Elementary School until I was board approved.
Wow.
They
Wow.
was like, "Do you realize?" It was like a bit weird. Do you know? Do you know? Do know what? You're the first. What?
Wow.
What?
Mm,
So
trailblazer.
they have now appointed their first African American administrator, also a female, as a principal at one of the other schools in the district.
Love that. I love that. That is so trailblazer. Trailblazer. And it points back to what you want history to say about you. If she could do it, so can I. And I could actually talk to you all day, Dr. Conley. You know I could. You know I can, but I have a few more questions for you.
Yes,
I know
baby.
our
Yes.
time is coming to a close, but
It's
I have a few fun
okay. Okay.
questions, and one is a little bit reflective, but
Okay.
I want to get to some fun questions too. And one of the things that I wanted to ask you is, what is one piece of advice that you would give new teachers starting out in the classroom?
Network outside of your classroom, outside of your building, outside of your district, parish, whatever it's called in whatever state you live in, and outside of your state. Because
Ooh.
that is what, outside of God, that is what I'm a talker. We can be standing in the grocery store line. If I see you found some cheese that I didn't find or some ketchup that you got to hold, what you know that I don't know? Honey, what's going on? When you are in spaces where you are amongst a lot of people, don't wait on someone else to say, hey, you should talk to the person. Do it yourself
Mm,
because you don't know what they know that may can help you to know something else that you didn't know.
yeah.
They know who you don't know. You know who they don't know. And you don't know what that person may be going through on that day. Your
Yeah.
smile may be the turning point in someone's life, in someone's career, in someone's whole attitude. And because of that, they come back and say, hey, you remember when we were in that session together? I did not want to be there. Matter of fact, you kept talking to me and I didn't even want to talk. But you ended up saying something, and sometimes they remind me of stuff that I don't even remember saying. But it
Mhm.
stuck with them.
Yeah.
And guess what I'm doing now? And if you need anything, and then that's when I get my little stuff out, baby. My teachers need, my students need, I
Mm.
need, and that's where it's spent. So network.
All right, that's the word, network. Okay. And I want you to fill in the blank. A
Oh gosh,
great leader, a great leader is someone who
a great leader is someone who knows what they're doing, but when they don't, acknowledges that they don't and is not afraid to seek help.
yes, nothing to add there. Yes. And what is lighting you up right now, whether it's in life or in leadership?
What's lighting me up right now is my new position because federal programs director is
Okay.
new, new to me. I have
Yeah.
been curriculum through and through, teacher coach through and through. But now having to understand why these numbers are the way that they are and having to tell people that are in power and authority, no, according to the law, you can't have it. It's something
Hmm.
new. I'm going to be able to do it, but
Yes.
it is so that is lighting me up because now I'm experiencing a new challenge, which is causing me to have to truly mentally shift gears and once again wholeheartedly not operate in my own strength. But I'm enjoying the challenge because now I'm beginning to network with people I haven't normally networked with. So I'm
Mhm.
building a new team around things, the new thing that I'm doing, have been called to do for this season.
I love that. One more. Well, I have two
Mhm.
more questions
Okay,
actually.
that's good.
One thing I want to ask you is, if your leadership were an animal, what animal would it be?
My favorite animal is an elephant.
Ooh, let's talk about it.
An elephant never forget. In this capacity as being a leader, you truly have to have that, and not in a negative connotation, but as a leader, you have to hold to, and this is what I tell people, and my husband and I, it's funny because when people say, when they come back, especially people that have been your leaders before, and they say, "Hey, I taught you well, I taught you good," and he's like, "Yep, I learned a lot from you." And when you say that, they don't know if you're saying, "I learned a lot of what not to do." Oh, I learned a lot of what to do. So when you people automatically equate that to being, "He learned a lot from me." Oh, no, 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 no. So that's an elephant. I learned a lot from you. I
Mhm.
learned what to do, or I learned what not to do. So
Yeah,
my animal is an elephant where I won't forget what not to do and what to do. But as well as being a leader, you have to strategically take things one bite at a time.
love that. And Dr. Conley, how can our listeners get or stay connected with you and learn more about the work that you're doing and follow your leadership journey if they'd like to do that?
I tell people I am young, but I'm not too young to say all of my social media platforms are just my name.
Okay.
They are
Okay.
They are Alicia Conerly or Dr. Alicia Conerly on LinkedIn, TikTok. It may be A Conerly, but but still, if you put in Alicia Conerly, it's gonna go to me.
Yes.
Probably my face or my family. And
Yes.
all of us together. And not only that, it has really been impressed upon my heart through several confirmations from others, as recently as one of the members of the leadership council with NSTA. To once my 3 years are up with on the presidential chain, that I write my journey.
Mm.
I already have in my mind a book title, and that is something that I am looking to do, put together concerning that, as well as I've already been asked to speak at various leadership retreats, especially to women in leadership. How do they combat the different challenges? How do they continue to go on with the different challenges we face, and not just with African American women, but just women in general? So just being a speaker for those, and also not just putting it in the box of just women, but as a whole, because there are some male leaders who just don't understand. So they want to be able to genuinely not isolate or minimize or demean the women that are leaders on their staff, within their buildings, within their teams, within their associations or corporations. So they like having those types of conversations as well. So people can stay connected by inviting me if they would like for me to speak, as well as on my social media platforms. And they can also just reach out to you to get my email address and my
Yes.
number, because they may know something. The viewers may know something that I need to know. They
Yes.
trying
I
to
love
figure
it.
out what I need to know. I may need to know what they know.
Yes. I love it so much. I love it so much. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
taking some time to be with us today
Yes,
and
yes.
sharing your brilliance, your authenticity, and your story is a real masterclass of leading in power, leading with purpose, and walking in purpose as well. And so listeners, viewers, however you're receiving this podcast today, if this conversation sparks something in you, please be sure to share it with a fellow leader, and let's keep building this community.
Yes, yes.
And until next time, I am your host, Cam Sanders, and we will be back with another episode of Leadership Bites. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
You.